Hey coffee lovers, this one is for you. Have you ever noticed that your coffee doesn't taste the same every time you brew it? One day it's perfect, the next day something feels off. Well, today's guest has found a way to fix that. I'm joined by Hugh,
My name is Hugh. I'm from a startup in Australia called NOVOLO.
a startup that that is changing the game for coffee drinkers worldwide. They developed a solution
What we do is we have developed a technology to stabilize coffee to extend the shelf life beyond 6 months.
without losing that rich aromatic taste we all love. As a coffee lover, I had to dive into this fascinating innovation. Coffee consistency is such a big challenge, and what this means for coffee lovers like you and me. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell icon so that you don't miss this conversation. And this is a serious podcast style video, so sit back, relax, enjoy the discussion in one go with a cup of coffee. So let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to make the switch from engineering to coffee?
I started out as an engineer for 15 years. Actually, I did that for 15 years. I went and worked around the world, and then I started a young family, and I pretty much gave up engineering because I didn't want to travel anymore. Two, I just wanted to follow my passion to coffee, and that passion led to starting various cafes and coffee roastery and coffee sourcing businesses. And throughout my coffee career or businesses, I struggle with the number one thing is the consistency of coffee. So once I select a coffee that I like and my customer likes, I just want to repeat that, because I know if you repeat that, people keep coming back and that. But repeating that was a big challenge. I used to do everything: weigh the coffee, get the right temperature, right pressure, measure the output, everything like that. Everything, trying to do everything as consistent as possible. But the coffee is, there's always days that it's just never the same. It's just inconsistent,
You mentioned that coffee consistency in coffee was a big challenge. Can you explain why achieving the same taste every time is so difficult?
Roasted coffee, right? It's a very unstable product. It's got over 800 volatiles in it. So keeping all those volatile is a challenge. That's why you get inconsistency in coffee. So Jack and I, with that problem, we went and developed a solution. So our solution is it's like a biotech solution where we apply a solution onto roasted coffee, and it stabilized the coffee for more than 6 months, and it's allowed the shelf life of coffee to be extended to over 6 months, and allows then for one, consolidated logistics, and two, coffee to be roasted closer to the source. Going back to the problem, exactly what it is, it's the inconsistent in taste. So once you have a taste that you like, right, you just want to repeat that. You want, for instance, you buy coffee, you take it home, right? You want that coffee to taste the same, right? The day you taste it the first time to the last coffee that's left, right? But that's not achievable with at the moment, because, as you know, when you open coffee, oxidation happens straight away, right? So the problem is the coffee that you have the first time to the coffee that you have at the last time is not the same. So that essentially is the problem.
So if I understand correctly, oxidation plays a major role in changing coffee flavor. Can you break down what happens once coffee is roasted?
So in layman's terms, it's similar to I would describe as we call it a snap lock. So what we're essentially doing is we are applying a process that locks in the flavor of the coffee. So the flavor will taste the same from day 1 to day 6 months.
Tell us more about this biotic solution. How exactly does it lock in the flavor and keep the coffee fresh for over 6 months?
The experience part. So we've done a lot of what we call sensory testing, right? So we've done testing on day 0 to day 6 months. So what we essentially trying to collect the data on is we want them to be able to just taste the same. There's no differentiation in the taste, and we trial that compare that with the one that's with coffee technology and no coffee technology. On top of that, there's a sensory, and then on top of that, there's a chemical analysis element to it as well. So that's one side is in the lab, chemical analysis, and the other side is everyday user sensory analysis.
What we do, so green coffee will come like this, in bags like this, and it's grown in various places around the world, including India, and it comes in green coffee like this. And this is where I roast the coffee, and this will then go into the roaster, and it's roasting at the moment, and this is the end roasted coffee. Right? So this is roasted coffee. What we do with roasted coffee now is we either package it in unsustainable packaging like those, made out of plastic with one-way valves and things, very unsustainable, and this will just go into landfill waste, or we can package it in more sustainable drums like this, where it's reusable. But still the problem is once coffee is roasted, the flavor, even in the bag, will only last about 1 month. That's why coffee is grown, say in India, gets shipped into Australia, get roasted in small batch like this, and try and get used as much as possible. But what we're trying to do is, after coffee is roasted, there's a treatment that we do. It's a biotech treatment that we treat the coffee, and what it means is coffee, the flavor would then last to more than we're trying to get to 12 months. And what that means is rather than having unsustainable packaging, you can send it in something like that, reusable, and the flavor will last more than 12 months. In addition, roasting process like this don't need to be done in Australia. It can be done in India. So you can value add to a primary industry, and you can add value to the farmers that way. So that's what we do. That's our tech.
Brands like Starbucks, Nestle rely on dark roasting for consistency. How does your technology provide an alternative?
I mean, they is big coffee roasters, the likes of Starbucks, Nestle, any big food and beverage company. They know that consistency is the number one thing, obviously, because that's a representation of their brand, right? So once that's their number one for their brand image is consistency. And how they're solving that problem is by dark roasting. So what dark roasting is roasting coffee very, very dark. What you mean is you roast away the volatiles. Like we said before, after coffee is roasted, there's over 800 volatiles, right? But as you roast it longer and longer, darker and darker, you roast all away all the volatiles. So what you're left with, it's just a dull coffee taste, right? It's the taste, there's no liveliness to it. The taste is it's like a dull coffee taste, right? It's dull, but it's consistent. That's why, like, consumer in Australia and India, who tend to favor medium roast coffee as well, we don't like those big Starbucks coffee and Nestle coffee and that because of the dark roasting.
Who knew coffee could be so unstable that there actually be a way to fix it? This innovation is a game changer for coffee lovers like us. Imagine having that perfect cup every single time. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any exciting conversation with raisins. Like, what is raisins? It's Raisins Podcast. Until next time, keep sipping and enjoy the coffee the way we love it. Cheers.